Even as I deliver this introduction, the world is dealing with change that we've never seen before, and we certainly hope we'll never see again. Our keynote speaker for this session, Mark Brown, understands this all too well because his life is a series of changes. He immigrated to the United States of America from Jamaica at 18 with only $40 US in his pocket.
The best laid plans of mice and men. It happens. We had a little technology failure and we lost Shelley and Mark for a few moments into Zoom's blank space. But please enjoy the rest of Mark's presentation as we pick it up a few minutes later. Stronger Together. World Champion of Public Speaking, Mark Brown.
In abundance. Now, my late father, back in 1964, when he was working as a land surveyor, bought a pair of field glasses or binoculars, what we used to call spy glasses back in Jamaica in the 1960s. And every once in a while, I'll put these on and I'll look outside the window in my workplace and I will espy various animals. On any given day, I will see rabbits, birds, turtles, squirrels, raccoons, the occasional rat snake, and the deer, which are there every single day. And every once in a while, I'll see a mound of earth in the middle of the grass, and I know immediately what that is. It is who wants to guess? Anthill. An anthill. And of course, as a child, I was always curious about ants and how they operated. Some time ago, I saw a fairly large anthill in my yard. And I went out to investigate. Once in a while, I'll take with me my trusty magnifying glass because at my age, my eyes don't always work so well. And I still use my readers when I'm up close and personal. But I went outside and I saw this huge anthill and there was a bustle of activity in the anthill. And here's why. A creature, I think it was a wasp, had gotten caught in the anthill. I know ants are miraculous creatures. I was taught very early in school, ants can hold more times their weight, 3, 4, 5 times their weight, and they're very strong creatures. You've heard that before, no problem. But the fascination for me came when I watched this particular creature. It could be a wasp, it could be a small lizard, it could be a beetle, but this creature disturbed the anthill. And of course, you all know what happened. Ants appeared en masse, descended upon this creature and began to attack it. Here's the curious part. I watched for a while and then I went away. Within a couple of hours, I returned to the scene of the activity. I won't say crime because they were simply defending their hill. I saw pieces and portions of what was once a creature 10, 20, 30 times the size of one of those ants. The creature was consumed, perhaps taken underground to nourish the young ants being bred and to take care of feeding the colony that is the ants, the community that the anthill represented. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I will confess that. However, that observation really made me think. An ancient book of wisdom says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider its ways and be wise." And these ants took on a creature that was 10, 20, 30 times their size. They could never conquer that creature individually. They could never overcome the wasp or the beetle or the lizard individually. But they were stronger together. A simple analogy, no great wisdom, no great insight, no glorious heaven opening moment. However, for a second, let's just sit there for a while. These small creatures working together in tandem were able to overcome an obstacle. They were able to subdue an intruder, and they were able to take advantage of what that intruder could provide for them to nourish their colony and build their community. I'm not saying that as Toastmasters, we are fighting a battle with warriors who are 20 times our size. I am saying, as Toastmasters, as members of a district and a larger organization, we are very much like an ant colony. And I'm not going to spend all my time talking about ants and Toastmasters today. Instead, I'd like to focus a bit more on the idea, the concept of community and family. And I know that Jenna Barnhill mentioned community earlier today, which I believe is a wonderful segue that makes us stronger together. But I looked at these ants and what it accomplished together, which seemed to be almost natural for them. It's what they do. It's part of how they function. And I also learned that ants have different roles within a colony. Some tend to the queen who gives birth to all the ants, and some are workers. Beehives operate in a similar fashion. Everyone has their role. And these ants accomplish tasks. In my yard, I have a sinkhole. I won't even tell you the whole story. It's a thing. It's just, I'm dealing with a sinkhole. If anyone is really overly curious, and I don't understand why you would have an issue with that, you could go to YouTube and look for the story of the Lizella man with a sinkhole in his front yard. You will find the WMAZ news story about the sinkhole in my front yard. Yay! The local water company came and they put 4 large orange barrels. You know the type they put in the road to block the road off? 4 huge orange barrels. They had caution tape around the sinkhole. My front yard appeared to be a crime scene. And those barrels stayed there for 2 months. For 2 months. Last week, they came and removed the barrels and put small stakes in because the hole is still there. When they removed the barrels, lo and behold, what did I see? Another large anthill. Gentleman came to cut my grass and he bumped the anthill and it broke up. The next day I went to the anthill and it was abandoned. What the ants had done was they chose to relocate and rebuild because what they had built before was no longer viable, was no longer tenable. Why tell you that? We all know the last year has been difficult for everyone with COVID-19 happening around the world. Many districts have faltered. Some clubs have failed. Some districts didn't have a speech contest last year. It was too much work, and everything began to crumble. They were unable to relocate, to reset, and to rebuild. My question for you is this: how well can you reset, relocate, and rebuild? I don't know the answer. But judging from the attendance here today, 118 people, well, 118 and a half, I'll be the half, you are functioning well as a district. Your officers are here, your club members are here, your younger members are here, your more seasoned members are here. You are here together. You are moving together. You are adjusting. You're adapting to what's happening around you in the world, and you are still here having a wonderful conference over more than one day. You are creating an experience that many others aren't able to because they didn't relocate and reset and rebuild. Well, how could you do that? Because you are a community and you're working together and you are stronger together. Thought for you. Please know that your role is valuable. To accomplish any task, your role is valuable. I mentioned earlier the worker ants and those who fight, the worker bees and the drones and those who tend the queen. We all have different roles in Toastmasters, in our clubs, in our areas, our divisions, in our district. We all have different roles that we must play, and we can play them well and more effectively if we understand not just the value of being fellow Toastmasters, but the value of the community that we build together. It is my wish for you, if you are brand new, if you've been in Toastmasters for a week or a month, and you attended this conference wide-eyed and curious, what's going on here? It is my hope that you will understand the power of the community you're now a part of in this Toastmasters district. Here's the cool part. And I love the fact that Jana mentioned so many other Toastmasters earlier. And I see you, Jana. I promise you I will not do a John Lau impersonation today. Well, maybe I will just for you later on. For you, maybe I will. But Jana mentioned community. I'm going to ask you to broaden your thinking and go beyond your Toastmasters community and think of the world in which you live, not just your home community, but every other organization you're a part of. Because, yes, we tend to focus on Toastmasters here, but this gets me excited. The skills we learn here, along the many paths that we take, The many rewards we receive as being a part of Toastmasters equips us to go out there and serve that community, serve other organizations in our house of worship, in a service club, to serve young people who desperately need leaders to be examples to them. That's what we do. And as we become stronger together, other parts of our lives, our families, our local community, those with whom we worship, those who we serve with, we volunteer, all of that becomes stronger because right here in Toastmasters, we take those paths that reap those rewards, that build those skills to make us true leaders. It took me a while to understand the power of community and how strong we can be together. Lessons I have been learning as a child, it took me a while to get it because, like I said, I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And sometimes it takes me a while to pick things up. But I want to bring you back to my youth. I want to bring you back to a time when I was a lot less wise, but I had so much to learn, willing to learn. As a kid in Jamaica growing up, our main sport was football. Now, I need to clarify for you North Americans. When I say football, I mean what you call soccer. I say football for one simple reason. You use your foot to kick a ball. Football, duh. That is it. And in Jamaica growing up, that was the sport I fell in love with. It is a world sport, and I loved it. And everyone's ambition in high school, when I was going to school, was to become a member of the football team. Now, please do me a favor. I'm going to give you a number, and if I'm close to what you believe a number is, give me a nod. If I'm way off, shake your head. High school soccer in your community, for a high school game, is it normal to have between 100 and 200 people attend a high school soccer game? No? Higher? Lower? 50? 75? I can't. No, thank you, Janet. No? Okay, let's say 25, 50. Okay, 25, 50. In Jamaica, high school football was so big, we had tryouts for our high school team. On the first day of tryouts, at the end of June, for a season beginning in September, 150 boys showed up to try out for a team. We had 18 uniforms. That's how big high school football was in Jamaica. On any given day, we'd have 10, 15, 20,000 people attend our high school football games in the National Stadium, the only stadium in the country. 10, 15, 20,000 people. To be on the football team, was a big deal. As I said, back then, I really loved football. Back then, I wanted to play football. Back then, I was a big football fan. Back then, my dream was to go to that field, to that stadium. Back then, I had hair. And my ambition was to be on the football team. I tried out, and I made the team in 1976. For those who are doing the mathematics, this is my 60th year on this planet. It's not my fault I look this good. You can blame my wife, Andrea, for that. But I made the team in 1976. My older brother was one of the last 3 guys to get cut, but I made it. And we were so excited. We had 18 uniforms, 11 starting players. Now, in America, I understand high school soccer, a player gets hurt, he comes out, he's tired, he comes out, he subs, he rests for a while, and he goes back in. Am I correct about that? I am. How do I know? I coached high school soccer in New York in the 1990s. But in Jamaica, no. You play. You sub out, you stay out. International rules. This is big time. I can vividly recall back in 1976, we had one player on our team. His name was Leo, this little skinny kid. As our season wore on, our coach, Alty McCoy, would use different subs in different games. But he never used Leo. But he was enthusiastic. He was diligent. He went to practice. He worked hard. The season wore on and on and on and on and on. And we got to the last game of the season, a cup semifinal. We were losing 2-0. And our vice captain, Gilbert Chang, Gilly, really cool guy, living in Michigan now, had an injury. And the coach looked down the bench and he pointed to Leo. Now, the team bench was right up against the wall of the grandstand. And when coach pointed to Leo, he got up and he began to do his jumping jacks and he was getting excited. And the crowd began to see this buzz. Leo is finally going to play. Wow, awesome. He got ready. And coach said, gonna go down, take Gilly's place, just hold them, defend well, we can do this. Leo began what I call the walk. From the bench, he had to walk down the angled cycling track, across the long jump pit, across 8 lanes of running track to get to the sidelines. And when he got there, he was still bouncing. He said to the official, I'm going to replace number 5 over there. The assistant referee called over the referee, who said, I'm sorry, son, you can't go on. Your team has used all their subs for the league, for the game. But I don't understand. We'll call your coach. He turns and he waves to the coach on the bench. Hey, coach, come here. Something's going on. The game has stopped. 15,000 people are watching this drama play out. And coach walks down the cycling track, across the long jump pit, across 8 lanes of running track, and they have a conference right there at the half line while the crowd watches with bated breath. Coach says, what's the problem? Well, coach, your team has used all your subs. You can't put this kid in. Coach pulled out his team sheet. Well, I have here 2 subs, the goalkeeper, and 1 more Leo, because the rule says you get to use 3 subs plus the goalkeeper. I did sub my goalkeeper, I subbed these 2, and now Gilbert and Leo, that's my 3rd sub. Referee says, coach, you're wrong. The rules doesn't say 3 subs plus goalkeeper, 3 subs including the goalkeeper. You've made your subs. This kid has got to go back to the bench. That's final. And Leo turns around to face 15,000 people. And he walks back across 8 lanes of running track, across the long jump pit, up the angled cycling track, and he sits on the bench. The game ends, the season ends, and he has just been embarrassed in front of 15,000 people. And I can still remember it to this day because that kid's name is Leo Brown. Mark Leo Brown. See, that kid was me. Of course, in school, you have your mates and your buddies who, despite the pain and the embarrassment, I went to school the following day and my buddies were there to laugh at me. Man, you got messed up. I wouldn't want to be you, bro. Whoa. So what would you do? I could quit, or at 15 years old, I could wait 1 more year for 1977 to go back to try out with 150 guys all over again and hope to make that team all over again. And so I did. And please understand that to a 15-year-old boy, 1 year is an eternity. Would you agree with me? You're 15. Your dream is dying in front of you. But I did it. I made the effort. I went back and I tried out and I made the team. And in September of 1977, I went back to the National Stadium. I went back down that cycling track. I went back across that long jump pit. And I went back across 8 lanes of running track to take my place as the starting right fullback of my high school soccer team in 1977. That tournament we were in, we won it that year. We became champions. And that skinny, knock-kneed, buck-teeth kid in the back with a check mark, that's me. Champions in 1977. But here's the thing. The lesson I was supposed to learn didn't resonate with me until years later. Here it is. My role in 1976 as a young 15-year-old sub was to be a part of the team to help our starters grow stronger, to help them to get better. We went to practice to work on routines, or ball control, or passing, or heading, or tactics, everything. And being a sub was important. I didn't quite get it at the time. Here's the cool part. I helped my teammates get better, so good that the following year we were champions. In the process of helping my teammates get stronger, I got stronger. I got better. We became stronger together because I had to understand the role that I was assigned to play. To accomplish our task, we must know our role is valuable. To accomplish our task and our goals, we must know that our role is valuable. Now, come on, Mark. I don't want to be a sub on the bench. I get that. I get that. It took me a year to become a champion. And even then, wonder of wonders, we were champions. We finished number 2 in the nation that year. Our coach, Alty McCoy, was interviewed, and look what the headline in the paper said. Calabar's win was all teamwork, McCoy said. Here's the proof. Generally, in our league, when a team goes and win the title, you normally have 5 or 6 players who are all-stars. They're that good. When the all-star team was selected in 1977, when we were regional champions, number 2 in the nation, national runners-up, when they went to the all-star selection process, they looked at my high school team, champions. Of the 18 of us, they took 2. None of whom started in the all-star game. They came on as subs later. Why? We were a group of individuals who understood that to accomplish the task, we must appreciate our role. Individually, we were not all stars, but collectively, we were stronger. We were stronger together. Now, what in the round world does that have to do with you, District 64? Simply this. You may not be a PDQ or a PIP. You may not be a CPA. Ha, 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 bad joke, but I made Jana laugh. You may have what seems to be an insignificant role. I'm only a sergeant at arms. Remove the word only from any role you hold in your Toastmasters club, in your area, your division, or your district. Every single role you play, everything you do is vitally important for the strength of your club, for your area, of your division, of your district. And the role I play as a speaker today, I see featured speaker, Mark Brown, I see keynote speaker. That sounds good, but right now, I'm simply a part of the process of making this event successful. I have such great respect for people like Jana, past international president, who is willing to come and present and to invest time to stay with you past her program because she's investing that time in you. Each role is important. I say again, you may be new and very green. Never say I'm only an SAA, or I'm only doing table topics, or it's never only anything, because trust me, if you were to poll the officers who are here, the district officers, the international officers or leaders who are here, and ask them if they ever felt at one point in time that their role was insignificant, I can guarantee you the answer is yes. So be honest with me now. Use your reaction button. Have you ever thought that your role was insignificant? Be honest. Give me some kind of response with the reaction button. Yes. That stops today. Nobody's role is insignificant. Everybody's role is important. And to accomplish your task, to achieve those rewards, know that your role is valuable, not just significant, it is valuable, just as is the role of every single ant in the ant colony. Your role is valuable if you're going to sustain your community. Sustain my community. Well, I mentioned earlier that some clubs and districts have had some difficult times. If we were to spend time and just have a little chat with PIP Barnhill, and talk about what she has seen over the last several years, what she has agonized over, seeing clubs and districts who are unwilling to take that step and to fight through a difficult season and to push ahead. You might be surprised to know how many fail to sustain their community because roles not only are not properly defined, but they are taken, they are pursued with the wrong motivation. I'll say it again. They're pursued with the wrong motivation. Why do you want to serve as a leader? Full disclosure, I've had the blessing of traveling and speaking to Toastmasters groups on 5 continents. In some parts of the world, having a title, having a trophy is a big deal. There are individuals, I met one individual in Singapore years ago, as I went out to do a talk at Reader's Digest Singapore when I was there for a district event. The individual was camped out in my hotel lobby waiting for me. How cool. We had taken a photograph in Hong Kong 4 days earlier. He said, Mark, I'm so glad you're here. He pulled out a manila envelope and produced an 8x10 glossy of him and I posing. He said, please, would you autograph this with a cool Sharpie? I said, nice. I'm being Jamaican. I said, no problem, man. He said, I want to frame this. I'm going to hang it in my office. Let the world know I know the world champion. My reaction to that is mixed. I appreciate the accolades, but he made it about him. And many of us make it about ourselves. Sadly, I've attended events around the world where I see a business meeting, I see a campaign, I see the election process. I will not belabor it, but I must address this in all honesty. I've seen officers who campaign underhandedly, surprise from the floor, to undercut what an individual has built for 2 years within the district to create a team that's cohesive and will move the district forward. I know Jana has seen this as well. And I wonder, what is our motivation? Are we serving the community or are we putting a feather in our cap? When we lose a speech contest, do we rant about the judges, how unfair it is? I can never win in this district. I'm going to go somewhere else. Or do I seek to find ways to improve my presentation? Do I seek some mentorship? Do I help other people? Because one of the best ways to learn is to help others with what you already have. I've been so blessed the last couple of years in contest season to see contestants who bow out at the area or the division, who invest time to help somebody else who's moving on. That's the right attitude of community. So even if I lose, I rejoice in your win. If every Toastmaster did that across the world, what kind of global community would we have? I tease Jana because she told a story years ago of when she lost one of her contests and she was disappointed. She told one, I think, today also. But be willing to say, okay, what can I learn from this? And people, please understand when I say it. I must say this. I have such respect for past President Barnhill. She has shown that you can use many paths to reap many rewards, successful as a speaker and as a leader, and clearly an example of team play. I say it not just to boost her, but I acknowledge her knowing I've known her for many, many years. Matter of fact, my contest in 95, her late husband, rest his soul, was my contest master, contest chairperson in 1995. So I know whereof I speak. We have a wonderful example in her for all of us to follow. But if we do not consider ourselves valuable for what we bring, we just might not sustain community. One quick contest story I must share with you that really blessed me. And here it is. Years ago, the Toastmasters contest, which we now know goes club, area, division, district, sometimes district, semifinal, district, region, quarterfinal, semifinal, final, was simpler. Club, area, division, district, region, or interdistrict, and then final. Many years ago, I was at the convention, and the interdistrict contest took place as part of the convention on Tuesday evening. And one contestant got on stage, keyed up, excited. Within 4 seconds, they lost their place in their speech. They paused, did a reset and a restart. Got about 10 seconds in, lost their place. Paused, did a reset, tried to restart, said the same word 3 or 4 times, stopped, and walked off the stage. What I witnessed next is a memory indelibly etched in my mind of what community means. The other 7 contestants rose, met that speaker off to the side, embraced, hugged, and loved on that speaker who had just invested 7 months of their life for a chance at the World Championship, and they blew it. But these were the other contestants. When they rallied around this individual, my eyeballs got really sweaty. I was so moved by a show of community, which to me is in stark contrast to the behavior I've seen from other Toastmasters around the world. Thank goodness I'm in 64 where that never, ever happens. We need to understand our role is important if we are going to sustain our communities. So maybe you lost a contest. Who can you help next time? Who can you help now? Who's gone past you in the contest, but needs a community to come with them and to hear them and to assess them and to offer advice and wisdom? Wasn't your day that day, but you bring experience. You bring everything you have learned. They now represent you, your area, your division, maybe your district. How can you support them? How can you bolster them? How can you lift them? How can you together slay whatever demons you have dealt with to help somebody else get the spotlight? I will confess, when I was competing years ago, I had help. And my mentor from Texas, David Brooks, the 1990 world champion, once told me his greatest joy would be seeing me surpass him. Let me ask you this. Have you ever wanted someone you helped to surpass you? So many leaders are like Apollo Creed. Huh? Yeah. So many leaders are like Apollo Creed. If you watch the Rocky movies, you might get the idea. Give me a reaction. Have you seen the Rocky movie? Anybody? Rocky 1. Give me a thumbs up or a reaction button. Okay, great. What about Rocky 2 with Clubber Lang, Mr. T? I'll pity the fool, mess with me, sucker. When he lost, good. In Rocky chapter 3, when he fights Clubber Lang, Mr. T, his support system, Mickey, dies while he's fighting and he loses. And Rocky is despondent. Enter Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed is the man Rocky beat to win the title. Apollo Creed decides to help him. Ooh, might there be a lesson there to sustain our community? Pretty cool. With his wife's help and Apollo, wonder of wonders, Rocky defeats Clubber Lang and regains the world heavyweight title. Whoa! 3 cheers for helping someone who beat you. But wait, there's more. You also get 2 carving knives. Now how much would you pay? Okay. The final scene in the film hit me so hard. Rocky and Apollo Creed, 2 seasoned warriors, go back to where it all began. The deep, dark, dank, dirty, disgusting dungeon of a gym. No flashbulbs, no crowds, no cameras. Just 2 old warriors gonna spar it out. And Rocky says to Apollo Creed, I'm gonna beat you up. He says, man, Stallion, how you gonna do that, man? I'm pretty. So, oh yes, he's me. He's all everything you know. He's all everything you know. Which really means in the English language, you taught me everything you know, man. You taught me everything you know. And Apollo Creed says 2 words. Almost everything. If we're going to sustain community, let's teach people what we know. Let's give each other the benefit of our experience, of our wisdom, of our failures, of our losses, of the pain that we have had, so we can spare them the same pain. That's how we sustain community. If we help others, we coach others. If we can be like those 7 other contestants that day who hugged on and loved on one of their own competitors who had failed. If we re-examine the goals that we set for ourselves, if we look at our why do I choose to have that position? I've seen individuals who have tried to get a position, they lost an election, and they were nowhere to be seen afterwards. Who's seen that before? Because the motivation was wrong. If we're going to sustain community, we've got to know our commitment is valuable. So 1, to accomplish our task as community, know that our role is valuable. Number 2, know that your commitment is valuable. And I don't need to belabor the truth and the fact that we are going through a difficult time now with COVID-19. And when things get tough, your support is valuable. An ancient book of wisdom says a 3-fold cord is not easily broken. 1 string, pop. 2, 3, really hard to break. Pardon me for a second. Oh, it got me so excited, man. I got to keep doing this. It's great. A 3-fold cord is not easily broken. We could spend 3 hours discussing the difficulties we've all faced over the last several months here as a world dealing with COVID-19. Have you ever thought of difficulties that we face as communities, not as a world, but even tighter-knit communities? I talked earlier about some districts who had such a difficult time, they couldn't have their contests, they weren't functioning, and for some reason, they've fallen off. Thankfully, Daniel Rex, our board, has been trying so hard to find ways to keep us going. Last year, our convention, we had so many big plans to travel abroad and meet each other and enjoy each other. And it changed. A tough time hit. We were given the privilege of appreciating and enjoying and experiencing a conference gratis. I have no idea what that cost Toastmasters, but just the idea of a difficult time, how can we make our programs? How can we make our presentations? How can we make the experience available to our members across the world at no cost to them? I don't know if you've thought about that, but I invite you just for a moment to think about that. That was for us, for me, for you, to give us the opportunity to keep going during a difficult time. Personal question, which of course comes from me, partly as a result of seeing some of the responses during Jenna's talk today, where some of you got emotional when you spoke of your experience. So here is my thought for you. Have you considered not having the Toastmasters experience this past year something you would fight for because it was so important to you? For many of you, Toastmasters has become that colony, that community that sustains you during a difficult time. Maybe your club is 10 people who meet once every 2 weeks via Zoom, but you meet, you get together. You may go to the meeting feeling who knows what, but you see the faces. You hear the bad jokes, like I had the worst jokes in the world. You hear the stories and you get inspired. My club is a small club in Macon, Georgia. Macon Toastmasters. We have 7, 8, 9, 10 people at meetings sometimes online, first and third Mondays of the week. But we have fun. We say the pledges, we recite the pledges, we have themes, we have word of the day, we have everything that we can do to keep each other going. And we found the stories that we now share as a result of what we've gone through have been very inspirational. And I found Toastmasters are the ones upon whom we can lean to get support when times are tough. Because the truth is, your support is invaluable when times are tough. In tough times, your support is invaluable. And the beauty of it is, your support reflects what happens in families. I know I say communities and families, and they're not quite the same, as Dana very clearly said earlier today, but I want to draw a parallel for a moment to make a point. I believe my football family is a family. I began playing with those guys in 1976. And the coach, Alty McCoy, whose photograph you saw in that news clip from 1977, now lives in Central Florida. South Florida, rather. He has suffered from glaucoma. That's Alty right there. And he has lost his sight. I first met him in 1975, began to play from 76. And you know, Alty McCoy and I talk by phone on average every 10 days. 45 years of relationship. My first goalkeeper, Dave Stewart, he's in Jamaica right now. We do WhatsApp calls once in a while. Peter Mattis lost his wife to COVID. We talk on the phone all the time. We have said goodbye to brothers who have passed on, and we maintain this level of camaraderie, community, and fraternity after 45 years. What can we build now? What can we start to build now if we think of it as a community to last a lifetime? I never thought in 76, I've talked to Alty in 2021, I never thought we'd maintain a relationship. But with over 4 years of playing high school ball, we built that bond. What can we build in terms of support for each other, even now that we are physically distanced because of all these challenges and times are tough for all of us? Toastmasters are the ones who are there when people lose their jobs and lose loved ones and lose homes. Toastmasters are the ones who are there to support when times are tough. Your support is invaluable. And you know, Toastmasters crosses lines for me, my community, but my family. It's a part of my life. It's a part of who I am. Let me tell you how much Toastmasters has touched my life in the context of difficult times. I will confess, I am one of the world's biggest mushballs. I've been blessed with 3 wonderful brats, children, the first of whom is my princess, Andreen. I call her my princess. She's a self-confessed daddy's girl. And here she is. She is my pride and joy. And the oldest of 3, she has 2 younger brothers. In 2006, my daughter got through college in New York. She's a New Yorker. A New Yorker from New York, forget about, New Yorker. And she applied to law schools all over. And she settled on Mercer University Law School right here in Central Georgia. And because she has had a history of medical concerns, her mother and I made a decision to relocate to Georgia to support her, which is why I now live in Little Isella in Middle Georgia, for my princess to go to law school. Did her 3 years, got her Juris Doctor degree, moved to Augusta, Georgia, and from there she's now moved on to Virginia, where she has become the first male or female African-American senior attorney in her division of the Social Security Administration. To say I'm a proud daddy is an understatement. She's my princess. But I mentioned earlier, why did we come south with her? From health concerns she's dealing with. We wanted to be there for her in case she had any difficulty. This is a young lady who had to have emergency gallbladder surgery before her finals in New York back in 2006. That's her. So my princess is very, very, very dear to me, and I want to make sure she's okay. My princess, who got a week off 2 years ago, and she chose to come with mom and dad to Denver, Colorado to attend the Toastmasters International Convention with me. How cool is that? Well, a few years ago, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which a disease I'm still trying to understand. It's very debilitating. It can really break you down. But she was also in a relationship with a young man, and that's cool. I like him. His name is Roland. And as she struggled with her disease, she figured it's tough for me, but it's also tough for others. What did she choose to do? She became a part of the MS support community. Now, I said to you earlier, what we learn here in Toastmasters, we bring it outside. She would come with us to Toastmasters. She came to convention when I won the title, and she saw a need to support other people in her community who were going through what she's going through. Sidebar. When you're going through your tough time, I understand you want to have someone support you and help you through it. But the rewards you can reap when in the midst of your tough time, you help others through theirs. The rewards you will reap when in the midst of your tough time, you help others with theirs. So Andreen decided that she was going to help raise funds for MS research by doing the MS Walk in Washington, D.C. in May of 2019. And of course, she enlisted her mom and dad to walk with her. We got the shirts to walk here in Georgia. It was a rainy day. And I made notice, I put on Facebook, and I had Toastmasters in California, 3 hours time difference away, says, listen, it'll be 6 in the morning for me, but I will walk. I will walk to support your daughter. You have no idea the support you can give, how valuable your support can be. And she made a pledge that she would raise $3,000 for MS research on that Sunday in May of 2019. And she's a physical fitness buff. She got me doing Orange Theory fitness. If you don't know what it is, Google it. But she got me doing fitness, me, her dad. And she's the one who's got MS. And she assembled her friends with Kazache. It's kind of dancing, fitness thing, and she would do it. And she assembled her friends, and they got together to support her in her walk for MS. They had a banner and a flag with them, and they got together in Washington, D.C. You can see it behind them. And the flag is there. We're going to support your daughter, Andreen. Here she is with her headband right here. That's my princess. Even though the weather wasn't always kind, it rained. But there they were. And she did not raise $3,000 for MS research that day. She only raised $9,000, 3 times her goal, because her friends, her family, and some of my Toastmaster friends said through tough times, my support is invaluable and I will give it. And of course, I'm going to have this because I got to tell you one more story about her and her MS. She met Roland and they began a relationship. She told him early on, Roland, you realize that I have MS. It's a very debilitating disease and it may cause me to end up in a wheelchair. If you can't handle that, I certainly understand. It won't be a problem. And this man looked at my baby and said, well, if you end up in a wheelchair, I will push you wherever you want to go. I thought, keep her. And if you saw last month's Toastmaster magazine, you will know that I had the blessing and the privilege of officiating my daughter's wedding on August 21 of last year. And through all that she goes through, our family is there. And we are continually stronger together. And I know we talk about being a community. I know we say that. But in many ways, if we choose to be a thriving community that loves on each other, then we can be a community that strengthens each other. And I know that as we strive to be stronger as individuals, and we strive to be stronger together as we take these different paths and we receive these rewards, we can, we should, and I pray that we will continue to serve each other. I want to help make you stronger. So I want to give you something to do that. I don't want to make one more point, but I want to give you an opportunity to be stronger as presenters in what you do. And here it is. At that convention in Denver, I made a commitment, a bold statement that my partner and I, Darren LaCroix, the 01 world champion, would start a podcast. It is called the Unforgettable Presentations Podcast. It's a free podcast. We do one every week. We give instruction, tools, techniques to be better communicators. We interview some of the most famous speakers on the planet. We've got a very, very high profile speaker coming up next week. We've got people like Fripp and very, very famous speakers. All we want to do is give you a chance to learn some of these techniques. Simply scan that QR code. It'll take you to our podcast page. Like us, subscribe to us, and tell your Toastmaster friends, here's one way we can grow stronger together. I'd like to offer you an MP3, a free MP3, right? It's 5 ways to live a life you want to live in a powerful way. Just, you get my updates every week. Just scan that QR code. It's one more way I want to help you to become stronger. And finally, I know some individuals here through Toastmasters are using it as a tool to promote and grow their careers. If anyone here is pretty serious about becoming a speaker and advancing professionally, by all means, simply scan that QR code. It'll give you information. It won't sell you anything. It'll simply give you information on how I can help you to become stronger as a presenter with my 27 years of experience as a speaker and a full-time speaking coach. I want you to be stronger, so I offer you these tools. But I'll leave you one last thought before my time is up. I believe that we can accomplish any task if we understand that our role is invaluable. I believe that we can sustain our community if we understand that our commitment is invaluable. And I'm convinced that we can survive tough times if we know that our support is invaluable. And I mentioned that support as Toastmasters can lift us up, but I want to connect family one final time. I'm going to ask you to make a call to a fellow Toastmaster you don't talk to in a long time. Somebody who hasn't showed up for a while, send them an email, call them, have a conversation, find out what's going on in their life, what may be happening, and see how you can support them and build them. Why? I would want us to build the Alton McCoy 45-year relationship. I want us to be remembered as Toastmasters who love and support each other. Because if we do that, we're going to end up like family. Like family. My wife, Andrea, our 3 children, Andreen, Joel, and David, are my family. And sometimes, you know the feeling, with family, we don't get along very well. I love you, but I don't like you right now. Who's been there before, right? But family is yours. And if we can choose our community, as Jana said, choose our community, but love them like family, unbreakable threefold cord bonds will be built. And they'll do little things that'll bless you, inspire you, and surprise you. My family did 26 years ago when I was in San Diego, California, when I met Bob Barnhill and Jana, vibrant, active Toastmasters who were supportive of every contestant. Matter of fact, in his opening remarks, Toastmaster Bob Barnhill gave credit. Get this. I know, Danny, you'll remember this. He gave credit to the husbands, the wives, and the families who were supporting us and enduring our speeches over and over again. Back then, Bob gave honor to the family and the role they played in our success. I was announced the winner and I was thrilled. Went on stage and I got my trophy, and I felt it was not just for me, it was for my whole family. What did I do? I had my family come on stage with me. And back in 1995, my family was a little bit different. And you saw the picture a while ago of the wedding. As for the look on my face, I have no words and no explanation. I can't tell you where that came from. My princess held my small Lucite trophy. Joel, now 34, was probably 9 then. David, now 26, was 10 months old. And during the tumult, my daughter Andrine, my princess, gave me a small greeting card in an envelope, but it was sealed. I didn't have time to look at it. I put it in my pocket and I went about my day. Shook hands, waved, all of the above. Finally got to my hotel room to go to the pool. As I took my jacket off, I forgot the card was there. I fished it out, said, Dad on the front. I unsealed the envelope, careful to avoid any paper cuts, of course. And I pulled out a little greeting card. Congratulations, we knew you could do it. Andrine signed it. Joel, my southpaw, signed it. David, my 10-month-old, scrawled. And I was so blessed. I said, honey, look what the kids did. They gave me this card. Isn't it beautiful? She said, yes, dear, but you have to understand the whole story. Honey, it's a great card. Look what the kids did. Honey, shut up and listen. Yes. Darling, your kids saw that card. I know. Listen, they saw that card and they bought that card with your money for you. I know, but it's a great card. Listen to me, honey. Okay, well, what happened? Your kids saw the card. They bought the card. They signed the card, put it in the envelope, sealed the envelope before we left New York to fly across the country to California. Because, honey, that's how much your kids believe in you. Now they're all moved away. Andrine's married, David's gone, Joel's gone. They're not here. But as I reflect on that experience, if they were, I would just say, did you ever know that you're my hero and everything I would like to be? Now I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. That's how much my family believes in me. How much do you believe in each other? Will you be the wind beneath someone's wings today? Do you believe, like the ants, like the ants, you can and will be stronger together? Will you embrace the truth that your role is valuable, your commitment is valuable, and your support is valuable? If you do, all I can do is ask that you continue to lift each other, build each other, no matter what path you may take. Many rewards will come when you stay stronger together. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Mark. I've just been scanning the chat and you had a message today that resonated with an awful lot of people, if not everybody. Thank you, Mark.